It's a brand new year, the first day of the year 2023. It's been amazing 2022. We appreciate and we thank God for taking us through to the end. We are here again doing what we love to do, doing what we appreciate doing. On today's video, I'll be talking about how we benefit for having great mindset. As a beneficiary of having positive mindset all the time, I am here to share about the things that I've discovered, the things that I've enjoyed for having the great mindset. Hi everyone, my name is Njeri Karanja and this is my YouTube channel. Could you be here for the first time? Please consider subscribing and also don't forget to hit on the notification bell so that you may receive all notifications for all my future videos. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. The reason to why I've just picked this topic of having great mind and how we benefit is because we know that you have just got into a new year, a brand new year. It's not even a day old. We are still enjoying there on the first day and we are having fun. Maybe we'll be having that kind of enjoyment throughout the day, but we also have another 364 days to live. This is just the beginning. We have no idea what is ahead of us, but what can make us stay strong, stay focused, stay determined, and stay consistent is by having a great mindset. Like I said, I am one of the beneficiaries and one of the persons who knows how having great mindset can really help you. Having great mindset help you to remain focused. It helps you to have this kind of a strong positive drive that comes from within you. No matter the kind of challenge that comes your way, you always try to think of that thing as a way of trying to open your eye, to bring some other lessons, to give some other insights for you to be able to understand how you're going to solve that problem. Great mindset drives you to the positive side of everything. Probably you have found yourself in a challenge that maybe you thought this is so overwhelming, this is so big, this is so huge, this is so beyond me. And then again, when you sit down and think about it, you ask yourself, what is this thing has to do with my life? Why does it have to come to my life? How do I have to get rid of it? Because I really know that it's very hard for you to evade from obstacles. Nobody, every person goes through challenges, every person goes through obstacles, every person gets knocked down by life. But how we approach these problems, how we face these challenges, how we solve these problems is what determines how you're going to end up. Like they always say, when problems come to your life, when a challenge faces you, it can leave you in either of these two ways. It can leave you better or bitter. It could come, play with you. You stay strong, you stand strong, you look for ways, you don't get moved. As much as it knocks you down, you do not bow to it. You have to stand strong. You always do it because you know it is a challenge. It is a situation that will pass for you to get to the other side of your journey to continue moving. There's no journey that is always smooth. No, don't let anybody lie to you. Every time you start a journey, like what you have just started, starting with the day one of this year, 2023, is just a journey. Each one has started. All of us, we have burdens, we got bills, we got families, we got responsibilities, we got so many things that you have to deal with. And for us to go through and take ourselves carefully to the last day of this year, it will depend on how we set our mind. Why am I saying this? Because this, like I said, this is just the beginning. And every journey that starts, the person who is starting this journey has to be ready for anything. When we go to the year 2023, a majority have written down their resolutions. We have set our goals. We have our dreams, we can see them, we can envision ourselves where we should want to be in maybe 5 years to come, or maybe 3 years to come. But for us to get there, the determinant of how we are going to cover the whole journey to the 5 years to get our dreams will be determined on one thing: mindset. Mindset is the one that rolls around us. It's what makes us mold ourselves. It's what makes us think of what you want to become. If you have already set that picture, the picture that you have already drawn about yourself in 5 years to come, the only thing that can make you get there is how you set your mind. Let me give you a small example about myself. I've had challenges just like any other normal person. I've gone through difficult moments. And sometimes I feel like, no way, this is so overwhelming. This is so over me. This is so beyond me. And I feel like, no, wait a minute. Why am I supposed to deal with this? Am I supposed to kill myself? Am I supposed to just sit down and cry? Am I supposed to scream? Because when human part of me gets into the way, for me to give up, it can take me just a minute. You start thinking of how you are not able to. You think of like, this is so unfair. I wasn't supposed to be going through this. You set your mind like, I am a failure already. I cannot fight this battle. You lose your positive drive. You lose yourself. You stop thinking about your goals. You stop thinking about why you were created, your purpose. You forget about the reason to why you started the journey in the first place. You sit down and start sulking into yourself. You start questioning yourself. You start seeing yourself in a different angle that no other person who had started this journey with the kind of spirit that you had started with would have thought of doing. Now listen, when I go through these challenges, there's something I ask myself. I try as much as possible not to ask why me, which is a very easy question for all of us to ask ourselves. It's a question that pops to our mind every time we face challenges. But then again, I'm like, if I ask why me, why should it not me? Why should it not be me? I mean, who should be facing this? And once I start saying, yes, it's my time, it's my turn, I start getting things from a very different angle. I sit down, try and analyze about my life, start and think and rethink about my dreams, try and bring again the goals, the desires, whatever it is, admiration that I've been having, I bring them afresh to the table. And then again tell myself, you know what? You can do this. You know what? This is just a shadow. And you must fight and strive to get to the other side of it. You must get rid of it. But you cannot just kick it. It's not a ball for you to kick and get rid of it. You have to be very much prepared here. And so when I face these challenges, one thing I do is to take a paper and a pen. I write down, how do I deal with this? The moment I've decided, I've also realized that there's power. There's this kind of strength that comes with power of writing down. The moment I take a pen and a paper and start writing down, how do I deal with this? What am I facing? Write it down. How do I deal with it? You start getting points flowing on your mind one by one, one by one. Once you sit down and write them down, then you start analyzing which one should I go by. After that, you pick the best, or rather the best option for you. The one that you think can work for you. Now this is how I do it. That's why I'm trying to show you how I do it. I set my mind first that I have to do it. It is my turn. There's no way I can evade. There's no way I can get away from this. I have to face it. So I refuse to sulk. I refuse to start self-pitying myself. I refuse to look for sympathies. I refuse to let people come into what I'm thinking. I refuse to allow other people's opinion get any way through to my opinion. I refuse to allow whatever people think about me take any part in whatever it is I'm thinking. I hold myself responsible for my life. I say that I am the determinant of what I want to become. I am the one who created the picture about me. Nobody else was there. I am the one who came up with the idea, who came up with the goal. And no matter what, I'll fight it. I'll fight every challenge. I'll deal with it positively until I get to the end. But during this particular time, as much as I'm trying to remain focused, as much as I still try to be consistent, I also try to remain faithful in God, because I also have realized when you stay faithful in God, when you trust God, when you have enough faith in God, your positivity remains very strong. The drive remains so alive. It does not go down. Every time you think of something in a negative way, there's another reminder that comes to remind you that you are meant for greatness, that you still have a journey to cover, that still have a lot to think of before you think about your failure. And that really makes me get back to my lane. So when I go through this difficult challenge, giving an example, I remember there was this time I didn't have a job, I didn't have anything to do, and everybody was looking at me as a failure. But I refused to see that. I one day sat down at around 4 a.m. in the morning, and I prayed. I usually pray at that time. So I prayed. And then again, when I sat down, I tell God, I cannot forget who I am, because you have not forgotten me. And I also remembered, if I am not going to try my best to solve this problem, you might not trust me with the bigger thing tomorrow, because I failed to manage this one. I will not be able to manage a bigger one tomorrow. And because I believed every challenge has a solution. It's like an action and reaction. So every time I see a challenge, I always know there's a solution to this problem. And that's when I sit down and make my mind think right. With a pen and a paper, I write down everything. Then from there, I think of the action. I come up with a plan. But even this plan, I'm always ready that whatever the outcomes, I'm always ready for it, because if one fails, I'm always sure that I can try another one, because I had already set them all down written, and I believe if I try with this and it doesn't work, I try another one. So mindset is a very, very great thing, because it also helps you to attract positive things. Because once you set your mind as a winner, once you set your mind as somebody who deserves the success, the things that come to you through your way, you attract positive things. You attract positive people. It doesn't matter how you appear. You attract positive people. You attract people who are going to add value to you. You attract people who are going to make you realize where you're going wrong, not people who are going to tell you how you should and who you should. People who are telling you, here and here, you have done it well, but could you try and do it this way? And when you look at it, you see, yes, for sure, they're adding value to me. When you put your mind in towards the direction that you want to follow, it makes you realize whenever you have lost some steps on along the way, and you can retrace the steps and do it again, correct them, and bring them to the right direction. So within this year that has just happened, I am so happy that God has taken us through to this year, but it's not in vain. There must be a reason why God has taken you through to this year. There must be a reason why you, amongst others, have reached this time. So whatever the resolution that you have for the year, whatever the plans that you have for the year, whatever the goals, whatever the dreams, they are all achievable. You can achieve anything. And the reason why I usually have this kind of strength is because I have found myself on the ground. I was scrolling. I did not know what next, but I also still believed. I have to make sure that I'm making a small, even if it's this small change, I have to make sure that I'm making it on my daily thing. And that's why every time I sit down planning on anything, I do not allow people's opinion. I do not allow people's thoughts. I only rely on my own thoughts. Because the picture that I created about myself, I did not incorporate any other person in my mind. I did not bring on board any other person. I did not plan to get any other person's thoughts or ideas for me to get to that picture that I drew, that I made about myself in whatever the time that I've set. I always believe that you are created to live great. And you are created, you are given everything together equally so that we can be able to mold, create our future and make the world a better living place. If we start relying on other people, how can we even live how God created us to live? I was listening to another video of another preacher. I really cannot quote him. I don't remember his name so well. It's just a video that I came across. Then I listened to him, and I think through his teaching, for that moment, I learned a lot. He said that sometimes God doesn't give us what you're praying for. Yeah, for sure. You have created this picture of what you want to become in 5 years. You have drawn it so well. You have taken your paper, everything, imagination. You've got a very beautiful picture of yours on your mind. But then again, you may not become exactly that. Why? Because God can give you what you can manage. It may not be exactly that, but probably to be towards that, but somewhere lower below that, or maybe above that. You may have drawn a picture, and God realizes, oh, you can manage a much bigger picture than what you've just drawn. And then He brings a huge thing for you to manage. Or maybe you can draw a picture, and then He realizes you are a great person, but you have not yet reached there. I put yourself a little down so that you can now tomorrow, after you get to that picture, tomorrow you can draw another greater picture than that one. That's how you're going to get there. And so when I was listening to them, I felt so encouraged. I felt so empowered. I could not get enough of his message because I felt like he was talking to me. I strongly believe in myself. There are sometimes God wants us to leave some of the things that we're doing, but we do not leave them because we still are looking for comfort. We still have forgotten that when you set your mind and you believe, you have faith that you can get whatever it is you're asking for, you forget that if you have a thought of that, God gives us these dreams. And for Him to place that dream in you, it's because He has seen that you have the capacity. So whatever it is you're doing, if you're feeling not happy about what you're doing, maybe, could be you are employed, and you feel like everything about your job is awful. You feel like it's bad. Everything about that job is so frustrating. Sit down for a moment. Think about yourself. Ask yourself, who am I? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What do I want to achieve? Where do I want to be in the next 3 years? Will this job take me to that level that I want to be? Am I holding on to this job and every day I'm feeling so pushed? I'm feeling so frustrated. I'm feeling so pressed. I'm feeling so strangled. I feel like I just want to run away. Let me tell you why. Because you're still looking for comfort. Because you still want to hang on that salary. You still want to sit down there and get paid at the end of every month. Because you do not believe in yourself. Because you're so afraid. Because you do not want to take a risk. Because you don't believe that when you step at the edge of your comfort, when you fall, you'll be able to figure out how you're going to save yourself. Come on. It's about time you make that decision. Everything is here. Great mindset. You are an awesome person. You are a great person. Sit down. Ask yourself, do I continue feeling this frustrated? What if that company closes today? What will happen to you? Tell us. What if your boss says, I'm getting really frustrated with this huge salary and I need to get rid of some people? Retrenchment. How will you deal with that? And maybe, could be, It could fall on you. And tomorrow you're not working. What if anything happens and the company is closed? Where will you go to? That comfort you're looking for, that comfort you depend on, that comfort that you don't want to get rid of, that comfort you still want to hold so dearly to, gonna miss you one day. Take your mind, sit down, think through, think about your journey, think about your dreams. If you are working at that place, you want to have more income. Do you have what it takes to start something else outside the job? Do you think you can be bold enough to start that? It's all here. Sit down. Set your mind. I will start it with this new year. It's a new year that will come with new achievement for you. Give it a definition. It doesn't matter what the churches have given it. You have the right to give a definition to this new year to you. If they have called it the year of repossessing, and you don't feel like you want to repossess anything, you want to achieve new achievements, call it the year of new achievements. And you set mind on achieving new things. Sometimes I feel like we don't fail because we don't have all it takes. Sometimes I feel like we fail because we choose to fail. I may not have huge cars. I may not have posh and great houses. I may not be the best woman talker ever. But one thing I know, believing in myself and trusting God has really made me grow. Every day I find myself moving from one place to another. And I take this as a testimony every time. And when I'm failing, I realize, I sit down and say, what is going on? Things are not working for me. What am I not doing? And I always advise. I usually go to many schools. I do motivational speaking. I talk to teenagers. For some reason, I have this great connection with teenagers. I love talking to teenagers. Why do I choose teenagers? I don't talk to teenagers alone. But most of the time, I feel like they need my voice the most. And I feel like I just want to let them know some of the things that I didn't know when I was in school. And when I came out, I started learning them. I started saying, I wish I knew. So at their age, I feel like I should use my voice to let them know some of these things so that they may try and avoid them. And they will not sit down one day and say they wish they knew. I would have told them, because that's my job, to let them know what they don't know, to let them know what they would not wish they knew. If they don't act on whatever I tell them, it's not me. They will never say, I wish I knew. They'll say, I wish I followed what I was told by Jerry. So, as I continue moving forward with this topic, once you have the great mindset, you start discovering your weaknesses. You start knowing once you get the great mindset, you start discovering yourself. You start reposting and repossessing and understanding your purpose and working on your purpose, trying to make sure that everything that you do is, as it serves others, it is also serving you. You start to understand why you are here, where you are. And if where you are is not serving you, you start thinking of ways to make yourself get to where you're supposed to be. Having great mindset is one of the reasons why people will never feel like they're suffering. Having great mindset is one of the great ways that people get the fulfillment. They feel like, when you feel like, yes, this life is so fulfilling. One way of feeling that is when you have great mindset. Once you have the great mindset, you always remain positive. Once you have the great mindset, no matter the challenge, no matter the obstacle, no matter the knockdowns, whatever the situation come your way, it may be difficult. Of course, it happens. All situations are not equal. situations are always very different. There are some challenges that you face and you're like, oh, yes. But others, you don't even realize they happened because they're easy. So once you have the growth mindset, you even start thinking of some of the problems that could be happening as you start whatever you're starting, because your mind is set for winning, because your mind is set for success, because your mind is set for a victor. And the moment you make that mind of a victor, the journey does not become smooth. The journey becomes rough as usual, but you find ways of how to fight the roughness without looking for ways possible. Sometimes you go through situations and the only thing that you wish for is to give up. And you feel like the only option that I have right now is just to close the doors, kill myself, and I forget about these problems. But does killing yourself really help? No, it doesn't. Do you think thinking about committing suicide will help anybody? And before you think of committing that suicide, when you don't have the great mindset, that's when you get the thought of committing suicide. How? Because you have forgotten the purpose of your existence. You have forgotten the reasons of you being alive. And once you forget that, it's because you have already lost in the thinking. You have lost yourself emotionally. You have lost yourself psychologically. And until you get back to your senses, you get yourself back to your normal self, so that you can sit down and revisit the journey, so that you can see where you lost the traces. The thought of committing suicide will keep on driving you, will keep on humiliating you, will keep on pressing you, and eventually, no matter how many times we save you, no matter how times we come through to help you not to commit suicide, eventually, if you do not sit down and get back to your senses, you definitely kill yourself. I'm not judging people who have committed suicide, but also I'm saying sometimes our mindset, we lose our mindset. We lose how we set in mind. We lose almost everything. You forget about your purpose. You forget about the need for you to be alive. You see that like you do not matter. Who told you? And I wish I would go to those people who commit suicide. And I wonder, if you ask them, do you know how many people are lying in beds in pain? And they're crying to their God every day, please heal me. And you think, you with your great health, you with your energy, it's enough strength and energy, you harm yourself, or maybe you commit yourself through whichever way, simply because you feel like your life is worthless. How can you call it worthless and you're not in pain? How can you call it worthless and you're not even limping? You are not even having any kind of injury. And you have forgotten about somebody who is fighting cancer. For those, I think depression is real. I do not refute that. But then again, we forget who we are. We start lacking the importance of ourselves. And that's how we get to the part of committing suicide. So having great mindsets have worked for so many people. And when you look at it this way, many people who have become really successful through their hard work, through their whatever the way they do it, the mindset is always positive. I want to stop this video here today, and I look forward to another video very soon. Until next time, for now is a bye-bye. May God bless you. Take care.